Okay, so it's the the story of my meeting my Somerset soulmate in London, England, and it was at the UK premiere of On the Road, and it wasn't just premiering in some theater. No, it's premiering in an outdoor courtyard of a palace in London, a Somerset Palace or whatever, a Somerset House, but it's a huge palace with this huge courtyard. And so how does it go? Oh, so the night, and it's totally sold out. And the press tickets are allotted for, and it's been sold out for months, and there's no way to get in. And so the night before, day before, I'm online, and somehow Noemie and I find each other through, I guess it was the ontheroadforkerouac.org that we met, and like literally the day before this premiere. And neither of us got tickets, and we're both plotting of ways we're going to get in. And I had just used this at the Olympics, which had just ended shortly before this in London. And I had made myself a ticket, a sign that said, "You need one ticket for events at the Olympics," and it worked, and I got into things, the hockey game and stuff at the Olympics. So I tell her, make a sign in advance, because that really helps. So we both do that, and and then the night before, I was staying with Carolyn Cassady, and the night before, she goes, finally says, "Well, I should write you a letter to get you in." And I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. So we write one late at night, and it's kind of haphazard. And the next morning I get up, and she's written a really nice one, in handwriting, to take with me to this Somerset House, And so there's that. So that's planned. And the other plan is the need a ticket sign. And the third plan was I was just gonna hide in the men's room. Whenever they sort of closed the house, the museum part down before the movie, and just hide in there until it starts. But now I got 3 possible ways to get in, and just before I leave that morning, and I've got to go and catch a train, because you got to get a right train to get into get into London at the right time to get into this thing. And so just before I'm leaving, I was like, "How are we going to know each other, And she says, "I'll be wearing red Vans." And I'm like, what in the hell are red Vans? Like, you drive in a van, but how do you wear a van? So this is the lead I've got. I've got to find somebody wearing red Vans. And so I'd go in on the train with this letter of introduction from the Queen to the palace, and lo and behold, it works. I go to the office, the messenger runs the letter upstairs, and 15 minutes later somebody comes down and goes, "Hi, we'd love you to join us tonight." So I'm in. So now, boom, the whole afternoon is great. I run around the corner and get some beers, and I'm having I've now got hours to enjoy myself in London. Oh, and the Rolling Stones 50-year exhibit was going on at this Somerset House at the same time, which was the best photo exhibit I've ever been to in my life. I mean, the prints were big as this Jasper Johns painting. And so I had to go up to these English girls and say, I know this is a weird question, but I'm supposed to meet somebody who's wearing red Vans. What are those? And they tell me that they're sneakers. And I'm like, oh, I couldn't have just said sneakers. So now I know I'm looking for somebody in red sneakers. Oh, and then this other thing that was weird about it was, historically, there's always been this perception that On the Road, Kerouac appealed way more to guys than to girls. And this screening was the first time my head was blown open by how many women love Jack and his works. And the line, like, so there's this line starts to form outside, you know, waiting to get in for the premiere into this huge courtyard. Did I mention that? And it's like 80% girls in this line. And I mean, complete reversal of what I would have expected. So there's all these girls. I'm like, oh boy, this is great. Jack and nothing but women. And so eventually I'm just sort of walking around, taking in the whole scene, and somehow Noemie, oh, I told her I was going to be wearing this very shirt, my New Orleans Jazz Fest shirt, because I'd just been to New Orleans Jazz Fest earlier. And so she actually recognized me, and she was like standing in line with a whole bunch of girlfriends, about 10 of them. And so that's how we first meet. And then we get in, and so that's great. So now, and then she's got a ticket somehow. I can't remember how she scored her ticket. But now, boom, we're both going to the UK premiere of On the Road that we've both been waiting. Well, I've been waiting longer than you have, Noemie, for this. But longer than you've been alive, I've been waiting for this to be made into a movie. And so, boom, now we're there. And, oh yeah, and we go in, and I go in, like, really, like, you have to go through the security, and I spot the person who's letting people in the fastest, so I sort of scooch into that little line and get in there right away, and, you know, I'm like, what, first of, you know, maybe for 100th person or something or less to get in there. And it's this huge courtyard that holds a couple of thousand people. And so I go and like get absolutely dead center, like a little bit this way, and get exactly the right distance back from the screen to see it perfectly, and go, aha, and set my thing out. Oh yeah, and it's on cobblestones. Like, you've got to sit on cobblestones for this thing. Like, you're sitting on the ground, and it's not a park. So and I'm like, well, I'm not carrying a blanket or anything. So they sell for 15 pounds these ridiculous blankets. But I buy one, and I've still got it. So there's your Somerset House logo and this crazy blanket thing that you unfold, and you can sit on it. And so I buy this crazy thing, and you can do this if it gets cold. And so I get this whole thing set up dead center, and then Noemie and her friends come in, and they all kind of sit to my right, but and she goes and sits at the far end of them, and I'm like, well, boo-hoo, like, why are you all the way down there? And about 3 minutes later, she says to her friend Laura, I think, from London, right, says, whatever, nudge, nudge, and they get up and they move from there and come all the way around and sit on my side instead of at the far end of this long line of girls. So now, boom, we're together for the UK premiere, dead center, the best possible spot you could be. And that's the beginning of the Noemie and Brian adventure. And so we hang out, you know, for like 2 hours or something before the actual screening starts. And they're playing, do you remember they were playing the coolest like 40s and 50s bop jazz the whole time over this crystal clear PA. So we're listening to this great jazz, and at the start there's like, you know, nobody there within 20 feet around us, and then gradually over those 2 hours, like every inch of the place fills in. Oh yeah, and she's telling me about being at Cannes, and how she got to meet, like, first somebody in the crew, and then the cast, and then the director, Walter Salles, and I'm like, oh man, what a story. I'm never going to be that lucky. And, you know, she's this cute girl, and of course she gets invited to the after party, and I'm this old dude, and it's not going to happen for me. But, so I get to hear her whole story of meeting everybody in Cannes, and I was like, oh my God. And then at one point she goes, oh look, there's Danny Morgan, who plays Big Al Hinkle, or Ed Dunkel in the book. And no way. So I go, let's go meet him. So we get up and scamper over, and hey, I walk up to, hey, I know you, you're Al Hinkle. And the guy's totally not a movie star. Nobody knows who he is. And so that's funny that so we get our pictures taken with him, and he's pleased as punch that somebody recognizes him. And And then, oh, and she's telling me, of course, about this whole On the Road for Kerouac.org that she's founded, and that I had just seen the night before, and that she was like looking for people to write what Kerouac and what the story and the book and Jack meant to them for this scroll that she was creating, which I thought was, what a great idea. Like, nobody's ever done that before, to create a new scroll in the 21st century that echoes and reflects on Jack's scroll from 1951. And so I mean, that was a very cool idea. So she's telling me that, and then there's and I said, oh gee, you should have had cards to be handing out to people at this thing, because it's nothing but 2,000 Jack heads. So we talk about all of this, and then